So welcome to this 101 on frequency, vibration and sound for kids. By popular demand, I've had a lot of people ask me if I can make a video regarding vibration, frequency and sound for the children, and using this phenomenal structure that is Lincoln Cathedral as the example of just how prolific those things are. So I've decided to start the video around pretty much the west side of the Lincoln Cathedral. And here you can actually see it's got loads of amazing geometric shapes. So it's a good place to start. So let's look at the word cathedral, where that actually emanates from. So it's actually made up of the word cathode. Okay, and cathode is a form of electron which basically travels downwards. So this is why you have all of these spikes on cathedrals everywhere. Okay, you've got them here, 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 all the way up there, loads of little ones, which are basically like resonators, which draw the electromagnetic frequency from the ether, which is literally the air, the ether air, all around us, down into the structure. Okay, then you have all these archways here, and these are like reminiscent across every single cathedral in the world. All right, and there's so many archways in there because when you have an arch-shaped structure, especially if it has metal within inside it, a conductor, it actually creates the strongest form of electromagnetism. So you've got the polarization of north and south pole. You also have here this phenomenal piece, circle geometric shape here. So in modern terms, that would be like your amplifier. So think of it as a giant speaker on the outside of the structure. Now, if you actually research cymatics, so this actually creates cymatic sound. So the organs within this phenomenal structure would obviously bellow out a certain frequency, and this giant amplifier, basically this giant speaker, would basically pump out that frequency, that sound, vibration, all around the outside of the structure. And if you look around the sides here, obviously every cathedral looks different, but the designs are very similar. Okay, whether it's Gothic, where it's more contemporary or modern, like this one. And look, Lincoln Cathedral and the castle, which is just over the other side, it actually holds one part of the Magna Carta, and it was put here in 1217. And the other parts of the Magna Carta is down in Salisbury, down in Wiltshire, and that was put there in 1215. Well, Salisbury Cathedral looks a lot more Gothic, looks a lot darker. This is a lot more sandstony, limestoney. But every single part of this structure is built with purpose, every single bit to the T. And if you notice any cathedral, things aren't out of line, things aren't out of shape. Okay, they're perfectly symmetrical no matter where you go. So just before I go around the front side, just want a bit of a recap that the name cathedral comes from the term cathode. Okay, so which is about electrons coming downwards through something. Okay, creating electromagnetic frequency, and that's why you have all these spikes everywhere, and then you have spikes or spires on big cathedrals. You see up there, all those little jagged edges, all resonators to draw that electromagnetic frequency from the ether. Now, inside this main structure here, okay, inside in the center, underneath that big tall tower, there would have been a hexagonal or octagonal kind of area, like a device, which is basically would have been like your battery cell. And they're often replaced through religion with an altar, or where people get baptized, where obviously religion have taken over these buildings. But that would have obviously harnessed a lot of the energy. That would have gone into the ground, and that energy would have gone out to all the surrounding buildings and structures, like everywhere around you, obviously throughout the years, throughout the decades and centuries. That's what would have powered a lot of places. So these in essence are giant energy centers, giant power stations, not the surface level ones that we're all brainwashed into and they get charged electricity for. So I'm just going to go around the other side of the building, and you can see all the different geometrical shapes there and what their purpose is. Okay, so I'm now around the front of the cathedral, or what we'd deem as the front. Again, you can see this fantastic continuation of geometric shapes. Okay, nothing's out of line. You've got a small geometric shape there, and these actual patterns are consistent in all cathedrals, everywhere, and they're often in archways or in around archways. So again, when we talk about cymatic frequency and vibration and stuff like that, when sound comes out of the cathedral, the actual shape of this, the measurements, everything to a T, obviously creates a certain frequency and sound within the structure and outside. Again, look at all the archways that are here. It's a beautiful specimen, isn't it? Now, many people are asking themselves, how did this get built? Like, how did this amazing structure get built with a hand and chisel and a horse and cart that we're told in history? Or should I say, his story? Okay, very much distorted misinformation. The technology that would have been back there in those days would have been very high tech, more high tech than what we have now. It's becoming quite clear to people that we have a lot of technology that's been hidden from us, and that's what would have been used to create these phenomenal structures. Now, if you notice as well, on this side you've got the two towers. Again, they would have been purposely placed. If you actually look, if I show you here, look how these cathedrals, like, it doesn't matter where you go, they look like they've literally been built and plonked on the grid system. Yeah, it just they always stand alone, don't they? It's really interesting, and then everything else is built around them on the grid system. And also, wherever you have a cathedral, I just turn around, you always have archways around it, one or two or more. Okay, and obviously back in the day there would have been water travelling through there, because water is obviously a huge conductor of electricity. So the cathedral was always built on water. This particular cathedral itself is built on top of a big hill in Lincoln, and it overlooks like the whole of Lincoln. You can actually see it anywhere you go around Lincoln, you can see it in the distance. And so there's lots of water underneath it inside the hill, and then that would have run through into this archway here. Okay, and the water would have run under the archway, and that's why it's an archway. Remember what I said about the electromagnetism? So again, water's a conductor. Archways produce the strongest pull of electromagnetism. So this is the outside on the front. So we're going to go take a look inside, and I'll show you some more fascinating facts. And just before we go inside, I just want you to have a look at the size of this door. Okay, again, these giant doors are consistent in all cathedrals around the world. Why have such big doors? How big were people back then? If you actually look at how small that door is there, and people coming in and out of it, modern day humans, and then you look at the size of this door, why the need for such big doors? Okay guys, so we're in Lincoln Cathedral now, inside. Alright, and just look at the symmetrical shapes that I was telling you about. Everything's inch perfect, nothing's out of line. It's all beautifully symmetrical. Now, really interesting fact about these pillars here. Okay, you get pillars all over cathedrals. Now, inside these pillars, here, here, and here, you have iron ore. So iron ore is really conductive. Okay, and like I was saying before about the resonance that comes down through the building, it's obviously captured in these archways, like this, like that, up like that, okay, which creates that powerful electromagnetism. Now, the beautiful thing about the way these cathedrals are built, and if you actually look at all the roof here, how it's like a web that goes up and down between each columns. Okay, this is the same in all cathedrals, everywhere you go, look, it's absolutely beautiful. All right, what this actually represents is humanity, okay, because humanity are here initially, excuse the noise, as beacons of light. Okay, so we're beacons of light, all right, from head to toe. We're supposed to be a conduit of light. So as conduits of light, obviously our crown, like our crown chakra here, then connects to the ether. All right, now look, this is what these pillars of light represent. They represent us as human beings, all connected together, and they all connect up to the ether through our crowns here, and then connecting to other souls around the world. All right, so this is what we call quantum entanglement. Okay, and they show, this is what this actually is showing you, quantum entanglement of humanity. And if you walk forward, obviously you can see the amazing organ. All right, so most of the organs would play 432 hertz frequency. So 432 hertz frequency is a healing frequency. Okay, I'll just zoom in. Okay, and then that would be felt by people all around the cathedral during set periods and the outside, because those amplifiers I showed you would amplify that frequency. Okay, so we're at the south side of the cathedral now. Again, if you have a look at those amazing geometric shapes that are up there, it's all to do with cymatics. Okay, so have a little research of what cymatics are and how that actually works. Obviously, modern times, this is obviously an important thing to talk about. Modern times, these cathedrals have been overtaken by religion. Okay, so made into Christian buildings or whatever it is around the world. And lots of our ancient buildings around the world have been taken over and weaponized by religion. Now let's look at the word religion. Okay, ion at the end. Ion is energy, and rely. Okay, religion relies on your energy to give your energy outwards. Okay, to a deity or a false god. Right, praying to someone for something. All right, so you're always looking and seeking outside of yourself, and that's what religion does. Okay, it doesn't matter what religion it is; it's always praying to an external god or somebody like that, when the God is within you, the Christ consciousness is within you. So that's why we have all these distractions in life, ladies and gents, boys and girls, is to make sure that we're always looking outside of ourselves for the answers. Okay, when the answers are all in front of us. So these phenomenal buildings are just a replication of actually who we are. See that web that I talked about? That's quantum entanglement. Look at all these archways, all these pillars of light, and that's what we are. We are a beautiful conduit of light here on Earth that are supposed to anchor light in everywhere we go. That's why there's so many poisons in everything we have nowadays. All the food, all the water, all the vapes, all the chemtrails, all the fertilizers in our food. Like everything is designed to keep us chemically imbalanced, so we're not a beautiful channel of white light. Okay, so now we're in the organ room. As you can see, look at how amazing this phenomenal design is. And again, everything's so symmetrical. There's nothing out of line. It's all beautiful, okay? It's made with phenomenal metal, which is going to be, which helps with the frequency. Let's play through it. There's not many organs like this in a lot of cathedrals. This is actually quite a spectacular one. But as I was showing you outside, if you actually look here, following left and right of the organ, okay, there's all these spikes, right, these resonators. Now, purposely built seats are underneath each one of these. So they have names on them at the minute. Obviously, as you can see here, they go all the way around. But the purpose of these resonators is to carry that healing energy. So people would have sat in these seats and received healing frequency. Right? That's what they would have been for. I've actually sat in these before in the past and actually felt the frequency when the organ's been playing, and it literally goes right through you. So all the proof you need that we're standing, and I'm filming this right now, inside a giant energy, frequency and healing centre. So again, just touching on what I was talking about earlier, cathedrals and churches and all these amazing buildings were taken over by parliamentaries and basically had a religious symbol, in this instance a cross put in them. And obviously in England, they've all got crosses in them of Christianity. So even the name has been used, Christ I am Christian, when it's actually Christ I am. The Christ I am is within you. It's the I am power that's within you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's actually what we should focus on, because all the answers are within. The answers do not come from a padre or priest or something like that reciting things out of a book, which has been massively distorted and rewritten many, many times. Again, to distort his story, and so that the focus of people is on a religion. Rely on your energy. So we're on the separate part of the cathedral now. I just want to come around the outside. So look at how amazing that structure is, all those amplifiers, what I showed you before on the west side of the building. But we're in like this courtyard now. Now, see what I said before about the geometric shapes? Like, all around the archways, they're all consistent all the way around. And you get these in every cathedral. And there tends to be a courtyard in every cathedral. I believe, obviously, this grass wouldn't have been grass as we can see it here back in the day. It would have been like some probably water feature, and actually water for people to actually dip in. There was of a certain frequency to receive healing energy. Again, like anywhere where there's religion, you get graves and crosses and stuff like that. For me, they're just props. on to show you that you die